paperwork is signed, e-signed, the money's in the bank account. How does
Yeah.
it feel the next day?
Oh, I think it was it was really hard and you're in this moment of like, you're just relentless growth. I 10x the business over like 5 years. So you're just in relentless growth. I feel like it's been months of like winding the gears down. Like it's okay. And there was like nothing to run to where you're like, I think it was like a little unsettling where you're just running full throttle and you're like, oh, I don't have to run full throttle anymore. And now I feel now that like the nervous system calmed down, it actually feels really good. But there's a lot that I still miss about it. I still miss like the customers and the community, but it now like months later I can go, okay, I did that, and now I feel really good. But yeah, it's a whirlwind.
Yeah. Angie, so excited to tell your story. Talk about the business a bit. How did you go about founding the company? And even before we dive into that, just give us like a super brief history of your career path before you founded the company.
So my career was in copier sales, manufacturer sales, and then a little bit of medical sales. So primarily a sales background. And then when the pandemic hit, we were all laid off, like the whole sales force. And I decided not to come back. I had just had my third baby. And so it was just this perfect storm of what can I do where I can like put myself as a mother first, it be flexible, um, not feel like the corporate burnout that I was feeling. And then at that time, what's essential, what's going to be needed. And I really did leverage all of my skill sets from my career. And a thing that always stuck out was having something that you will have repeatable customers with. So you would sell a product, but then you'd have a repeatable consumable behind it. And then I like to surf. I was a geography major, so I'm hardcore into like sustainability. And so I thought maybe tie more into that. And that feels more aligned to me than like copiers or root canals, things like that. And so I just thought, this is the time, go for it. And so
You're like global pandemic side. No
yeah,
problem. Let's go for it.
yeah. And it was like, I think it was just like riding that like pandemic insanity where I'm like, I'm just going.
Everything is up in the air. Let's start a business.
It felt wild. It really did.
Yeah.
Like, I was like trying to do job interviews. I'm doing Zoom school and like
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
the
Three kids at home.
yeah, yeah, all three of us at home. So that was another thing. I'm like, where can I also go and have my daughter with me at Zoom school? And then like, so it was just like all the things. And so I did what, you probably should never do. And I cashed in my 401k and I just said, I'm going for it. I bought a business course online from somebody that I like really admire in the business space. And so I just went for it. And it was a physical store and it was all about memberships and being repeatable business. So refilling your water jugs. So instead of just buying, my whole mission was like, we're going to make a dent in reducing single use plastic. And then I just had this mission statement that was always my North Star was that I'm going to do something that's good for your health, it's good for the environment, and you're going to save a little money with it. And just went from there. And it always had to tie back to that. Like that was just my core mission. And so it was literally my daughter and I, she was 7 at the time. We went all over San Diego. I was completely open to the location, but I had like criteria. It was more about following a recipe more than I have this product that I have to get out into the world. It was like, I know if I follow this recipe, this will work. And so it was like a high traffic place, high rental occupancy, good parking because water is heavy, all the things. And so ironically, it was like the first place I looked at. And then we looked at probably 30 to 40 other ones after that, all over San Diego. And that one turned out to be like the best fit for us. And we just went for it. And I did a full build out of it, and it took me a really long time to open.
Yeah.
And we did, and then it had like a really great response in the community, and I was just blown away every time that somebody got it or were interested. Like even like the first time someone signed up for a membership, I think my mouth dropped and I paused a little bit, and but then
Like,
you're like, be
wait,
cool.
this is working.
Yeah. Like pretend you've done this before.
I know. I remember that first day too in my co-working space where we're like, wait, this is working. This is amazing. Right? That feeling.
Oh, it's amazing. It's like where somebody gets it, like, and somebody understands your idea, and then somebody likes your idea is just amazing.
Yeah, it feels good. Yeah. So the water lady, the Water House, talk about how you chose the name of the business.
Yeah. I think one morning I was just spitballing a bunch of names, but my background is I'm of like German descent, but I was born and raised in Southern California. So I really didn't know anything about my background or cultural background. And so it was a little nod to that. And I just liked the way it sounded. So I spitballed out a bunch of names, and then that one hit, and then I just stuck with it. And then I checked domains, and it hadn't been taken yet, and then kind of went from there.
That's
And it's funny because even now that I've sold, that was part of the agreement, is that I retained my name in the LLC, and it's an emotional thing, I guess.
yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, you birthed it. So
Yeah.
you want to take it with you. Yeah, no, that's great. So
Yeah.
Angie, how long in total did you have the business from launch to sale?
5 years. And so
5 years.
I like my lease was September of 2020, but we didn't open until February of 21.
Okay.
And I sold in January of 26. So
Okay,
yeah.
awesome. That's great. Okay, so let's get into some of the details.
Mhm.
I know you had an amazing attorney that helped you
Yes.
through the process. You want to give a shout out to your attorney,
Yes, to Catherine. Oh my gosh, she was
Catherine
amazing.
Edmonds.
Yes,
Yes.
Catherine Edmonds. And
Yeah.
she was so amazing and so sweet for somebody to take on this. It was like relatively a small sale, but she did it, and I couldn't have done it without her, honestly. Like I had never sold a business before, and you don't know what you don't know. And it was an emotional process to, let go of your baby. So it was great to have that real like steadfastness in there. And then also just someone that was a woman and that could understand that. And, but then also just kind of cut to the chase and help you get through it all and be tough when you needed someone to be tough. So it
Yeah,
was wonderful.
that's great. And what exactly did Catherine help you with? Will you just kind of lay that out?
Yes. So I was fortunate enough to have multiple buyers, but I didn't know anything that I needed for the sale. So, what does that agreement look like? What does even the total process look like? So, it was nice to have somebody that could explain the whole thing from beginning to end. Like, here's what you're going to need to show. Here's the process. Here's the back and forth. Once we negotiate and we settled on, the price, maybe we're also going through the terms, and then we're going to go back and forth. And what can you ask for and what is not worth fighting for, and so those things were just really helpful. And then even going through like the escrow process, or why do we even need to go through an escrow process? And um yeah, like so having that where maybe, and I don't know how to say this, but like she had like the most experience out of everybody in the deal. So somebody that like can go, that's not typically what happens in a deal structure, and then kind of guide you through those things where I wouldn't have known without her. And you just kind of take things for face value, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute, we don't have to do it that way. So
When did you think about selling? Like, how far along into the business did you think, okay, I want to build this to sell it?
it was, I think any entrepreneur will say this, is it's a roller coaster ride, and you will have bad days where you're like, just get rid of it all. But
Yeah.
something about the 5 year mark, I signed a 5 year lease. And so going into it, I'm like, I don't know what I have, but I know by 5 years I'll have something. And so that was kind of always in the back of my head is, was I going to renew the lease or is that time to offload? And then just for me personally, it felt like the time that I just
Yeah.
didn't want to renew another 5 years or more.
Yeah. Yeah. No, fair. Okay. Sounds
Mhm.
good. And what was that process as far as putting it on the market, so to speak? Where did you list it? Did you think about brokers? Like talk through that process.
Yeah, I think I got a flyer from a broker, and that kind of was like this little ping of like, oh, you do have something that's sellable now. If somebody's like, kind of clocking you in that way. And then I decided going with a broker was not really for me. Again, I was like a really small business. And I never had to list it. So I actually like never officially put it on the market, if you will. And I had somebody come to me like very early on in the business, like within like that first like 2 year period, wanting to buy it. And I just kept their information, but pushed it off. And then I had somebody else right before, like that summer before the lease was going up, reach out to me privately and ask if it was for sale. And so I just went that way. So I was very fortunate that they came to me and I didn't have to do any marketing for it.
Yeah. And you mentioned you had potentially multiple buyers. Did other people show up at that point, or did you go back to the original person, or?
Yeah, it started with I reached out to that original person, said, "Are you still interested?" And she was actually ultimately the one that bought it. And
Oh,
so,
interesting.
yeah. And so she was like, "Yes, I'm very much interested." And then, right as we began talking, then somebody else popped up. And
Uh,
then, so I had two buyers going. And hindsight being what it is, it's always 2020, right? I felt like I had to keep it so private that I was letting it go. And then at times when you're starting to do these deals, you do sign an NDA, so you can't talk about it. But I wish I would have been more open about that I was willing to let it go, because after the fact, I still even had like two more parties go, I wish you would have told me, because I would
mhm.
have been interested in. Yeah. So that was really like a big lesson and, also very eye opening.
Okay, so can I double click on that? How exactly reflecting, how would you have gone about it differently to let other parties know? Like,
Mhm.
would you have posted it? Would you have sent an email? Like
Yeah.
what would you have done differently, truly?
It was, I think just talked about it and been okay with it. And that was what was so interesting about this business is that, it was a very big community that I saw on a routine basis.
Yeah,
And
you had
so,
members. I mean,
yeah,
describe the business model just a bit more for folks that don't understand a subscription service water model.
yes, yeah, yeah. So this was mainly for your home or office. So anybody that got water and used like 5 gallon jugs, for example, but wanted to save money on water delivery, you can come in and use your 5 gallon jugs and rinse them out and then refill them with either purified or alkaline water. And then we filtrated on site. So I had a commercial filtration machine that would make the purified water. We'd add minerals back. So that's what would alkalize the water. And so you could either just pay as you go and pay per gallon, or you could do a membership. So it would be a flat rate, come as much as you like, as much as you want, no problem. And it's really interesting. Like the psychology of it is that it's a really amazing feeling to be able to go somewhere and not have to pull out your wallet and also go somewhere and just be so welcomed and recognized. It's like kind of like going to your favorite bar, but you don't go home intoxicated and with a lot less money. You know what I mean? It was
You
just like,
go home high on alkaline water.
yeah. Yeah, you're actually like, I felt like a bartender, but I'm like sending people home like healthier than when they came
Yes, exactly.
in. Yeah. And then we also had this like fun little thing that in this space, it's a very it's a very old-fashioned mom and pop business model. So that was the other thing I thought is if you apply automation to something, a very old business model, what could we do with it? So typically in this space, it's either you pay as you go or to incentivize like a higher average order value or a higher getting like the money upfront, lack of better words. So people would say you can buy a certain number of gallons at a discounted rate. And so literally it's somebody with like index cards keeping track of how many gallons people use and they buy it at a discounted rate. So we were on we were on Shopify. So what I did instead of doing that and keeping track of how many gallons people used, we used e-gift cards and we would apply a discount to it. So for example, if you spent $50 on it, you actually got a card for $65. And then it's an e-gift card and it's a QR code that gets text and it can stay on people's phones. So like in their Apple wallet. And so as they come in, they're just scanning a QR code and then it automatically deducts and they're keeping track of it. So it was just a fun little aha moment that was really popular as well too.
Amazing. On that line, other advice, things that you learned through the process that you would want to impart for other women who are thinking about going through this process of selling their business.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Um, yes. So I would say like don't be afraid to talk about it, and be comfortable with it. And I couldn't even give myself this permission to be proud of what I built. I felt like so secretive, like I'm letting this go. And, and I think just be proud of that moment and honor that moment. And it's an achievement. Um, and have the conversation with everybody that's going to be involved. So this is really interesting that I found with women, especially, and I think this is that we all go, oh, we want to own our own business and we want to do our things, but are we prepared to make the decisions on our own? And it's really interesting to see that when I've worked with couples in business, so like even the business opportunity I did after the store and this, I would mainly work with the husband to like in negotiating in deal structure, all of those things. But the woman was going to be the operator. And so I'd say that's still very eye-opening for women that we want to be the leader and we are so desperately needed in leadership, but this default to go through the man first, or like when things get tough, the man says the hard conversation. And that is like really eye opening. And that's what stuck out to me that I think is pretty interesting for women, especially.
Can I lean into that? Can you give me an example of that,
Yeah.
Angie?
So if there was any time like the conversation had to be tough, like beyond pleasant or rapport building, I would hear from the man before I'd hear from the woman. And it's like this, or like the negotiating in the deal structure was strictly
Mm.
the husband's, and even getting asked, like, oh, is your husband going to negotiate this for you? And I'm like, no, it's always been me. I did the business. It
Yeah,
was my
I'm
husband.
still doing the business.
Yeah. So, and like I even had to explain that, and not like that my husband couldn't do it, but he was never
Yeah,
involved in it. So how could he negotiate something he didn't understand?
yeah,
So,
interesting.
but then getting asked that, like, well, is your husband going to be involved in it? Or, like, when are the men going to negotiate it? And so that is
Like
like really,
never.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, and I had it, and that actually felt good. I'm like, no, it's me.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the big eye-opening part of being a business owner, anyways, is like you have this big aha moment that it is just you.
Yeah.
There's no HR to grab, there's no other department to push it off on, there's no boss to like hide behind. It has to be you, win or lose. So yeah, that I think would be a big part of it.
Paperwork is signed, e-signed. The money's in the bank account. How does it feel the next day?
Oh, I think it was like it was really hard and you're in this moment of like, you're just relentless growth. I 10x the business over like 5 years. So you're just in relentless growth. I feel like it's been months of like winding the gears down. Like it's okay. And there was like nothing to run to where you're like, I think it was like a little unsettling where you're just running full throttle and you're like, oh, I don't have to run full throttle anymore. And now I feel now that like the nervous system calmed down, it actually feels really good. But there's a lot that I still miss about it. I still miss like the customers and the community. But it now, like months later, I can go, okay, I did that. And now I feel really good. But yeah, it's a whirlwind.
Yeah. And what's next?
Yeah. So right now it's like actually enjoying a slower pace. So
And being with your three kids.
yeah, which actually surprisingly it doesn't slow down that much.
Yeah, I'm sure they're keeping you busy.
Yeah. So they're keeping you really busy. And now it's looking at, okay, can I do something where it's still creative in that entrepreneurial sense, but is it energetically sustainable?
Mm.
That's like my biggest thing. And then what's interesting, what's like kind of fallen into my lap is a little bit of consulting. So now I'm beginning to work with another business on helping them with automating and being on an operator and sales role. And so it's funny how these things find you. So that's what I've been working on.
Thank you for sharing a bit of your story and wisdom with us. I appreciate it. And congratulations on the sale of your business. That's amazing. And 5 years, that probably feels like a lifetime, but that is a relatively quick turn to build and 10x your business and exit. Just an incredible, incredible business you built and amazing what you've done.
Oh, thank you so much. And I have to say that your cohorts was so instrumental and amazing. So thank you for providing this community and still doing all of these things. I mean, it's wonderful, and especially for women. I mean, everybody, but it can feel like a very lonely process. So the space you provide, the cohort we did was just phenomenal. So thank you too, and thank you for this opportunity too.